The Gators are going big game hunting right now on the recruiting trail, and UF is looking to close in a massive way. And you need to know about it right now. There are very few spots left in the Gator recruiting class for 2024. There are a couple of big names left on the board. When with most of this class really already set, the Gators can put the full court press on their remaining targets and even swing for the fences for some long shots. So let's jump right into who UF is looking to pull. First up is Jamari Howard. He is a four-star corner out of South Florida. Michigan State, UF, Miami, FSU are all battling for him. He is 6'2", 175 pounds. On3 has him as a four-star, 76th best player in the country overall. 24/7 Sports also has him as a four-star, and they have him ranked as the 94th player nationally. Like I said, he is from Miami, Florida, so top 100 player for both 247 and On3. He was supposed to take an official visit to Gainesville in June. Those plans changed, but UF has stayed persistent here. This looks like it's primarily a UF Florida State battle right now. No huge clear-cut favorite. This is a really impressive athlete. Jamari Howard, like I said, 6'2". He has almost an 80-inch wingspan. This is exactly the body type that we always preach is what Corey Raymond is after for his cornerbacks. He also runs track. We've mentioned this on this channel before. He was in a part of that 4x400 Florida relays team that won. You know how Napier feels about two-sport athletes. He loves them. He loves them for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, they're incredibly athletic, but they're also versatile. They're also smart. They're also good with time management skills. All of these are things that football coaches at the high level are looking for in their athletes. Billy Napier, probably more than even most. Jamari Howard's recruitment is a little bit of an enigma. All right. He was committed to Michigan State. He decommitted, but he still talks to them on a very regular basis and still lists them as one of his top potential landing spots. So the relationship's still there, but a lot of experts think that he is interested in staying home if it's the right fit. That's why Florida, Florida State, Miami are really in it here. In-state battles are important. Top kids in the state of Florida can't leave. If Napier wants to win a national championship, sign huge recruiting classes, continue to be the head coach of the University of Florida, he's got to lock the state of Florida down. So this is a battle that I think that comes into play. It's really important. Howard didn't visit this summer, and he's been playing his recruitment incredibly close to the vest. He did visit FSU during their big weekend event at the end of July. And there is some speculation that maybe he's leaning there, but I don't think you can ever count Corey Raymond out when you are talking about a cornerback recruitment. Everybody knows who DBU is, and it's in Gainesville. The next player we're going to talk about on our list is Zay Mincey. He is out of Daytona Beach, Florida, Mainland High School. This is another one of the players that Florida would really like to keep home. Daytona Beach is not far from Gainesville. This is in the Gators' backyard. It is important that we have the top players in the state head to Gainesville. Mincey is 6'3", 180 pounds. On3 has him as the 81st player overall. 24/7 Sports has him at 79th overall, so they are incredibly close right there. Both of them have him listed as a four-star. He did visit UF on June 9th, and he's considered a Florida lean at the moment, but there's been some rumors back and forth. We thought that maybe he was going to commit to Miami a few days ago. That obviously did not happen. I think that Florida is still really in this. They're pressuring him hard. So is Miami. There's other schools looking at him as well. He would play corner for Florida, most likely. He would be on the larger side because he's 6'3", 180 pounds. But like we talked about with Jamari Howard, this is Corey Raymond's body type. This is the type of player that he likes. He is the 8th best safety in the country, according to On3, 4th best safety in the country, according to 24/7 Sports. So all in all, an elite prospect. Zay Mincey is another multi-sport athlete. He plays basketball and runs track as well. So again, as we've talked about for months on this channel, multiple sport athlete, something that Billy Napier looks for in his guys. We've mentioned Corey Raymond in the body type. He's got a long wingspan. He's tall. He looks exactly the part that Corey Raymond is looking for. And again, he's local. So this is somebody the Gators would really like to get. Not only would they be keeping a local kid home, they would be keeping them out of the hands of Miami, which is always something Gators look to do. Before I get to our next one, do me a favor. If you are enjoying this content and want to show your support, hit the subscribe button for me. We've hit our goal of 5,000, but we want to keep growing this incredible community. If you're already subscribed, shoot me a comment with where you think UF's class finishes the 2024 cycle. Next up on our list is mainland teammate LJ McRae. He is a 4-star defensive lineman. He's 6'6", 260 pounds. 24/7 Sports has him as the 37th best player nationally. On3 has him as the 46th best player nationally. So top 50, no matter what recruiting site you look at, top 50 player in the country. That's pretty impressive. He is a top 10 defensive lineman in the country. This would be a huge pickup for the Gators. Literally a huge pickup, y'all. He is 6'6", 260 pounds. Let's talk a little bit about him as an athlete. First thing that jumps off the page, obviously, is his size. He has a huge frame. Next up is pure strength. Obviously, with a frame that's 6'6", you'd think that he's going to be strong, but he's an absolute monster on the inside, and you can see that when you watch his film. He's also very, very long. He has a 6'9" wingspan, so obviously a little bit longer than he is tall there. He moves very well. He's been clocked at under 5 seconds in the 40-yard dash as a defensive tackle. That is excellent. He played a lot of defensive end for his high school, and he can really kind of move all over the defensive line due to his size and quickness. So also things that Austin Armstrong, Billy Napier are very interested in. He has a very quick first step, and then he does a great job getting around offensive linemen if you look at his film. And when he goes head to head, he's got strength, and he really just dominates his opponent. He's been described as playing violently and aggressive, obviously things you want about your defensive linemen. And I really, really think that Florida's put a huge focus on the trenches. This is something that could kind of put this class over the top. McRae is a beast. He's a local kid. It would be a huge pickup for the Gators to steal him. Georgia is very hot on him as well, so a win against Kirby never hurts. This would be a very good pickup. Another player that I think Florida's looking at, I think they'll get McRae or this next player, is Dalen Evans. He is 6'5", 265 pounds. 24/7 Sports has him as the 41st player nationally, and On3 has him as the 66th best player nationally. He is a 4-star, 3-sport athlete. He plays basketball, runs track, and obviously plays football. His recruiting stock really rose very quickly this summer. He was named defensive line MVP at a rivals camp in Texas over the summer. He was named to the Polynesian Bowl All-Star team. These things contributed to his rising stock. He is constantly referred to as a freak athlete who is not only strong, but is versatile. He's from Longview, Texas. Shout out to Tate Casey, Florida's tight end. He was from there as well. He had been Texas A&M's highest ranked recruit for months. So this would be a pretty nice snag if UF could end up with him. He did come to UF twice in the spring, and there has been constant smoke for the last few months about a possible change of commitment here and him end up in the orange and blue. It would be a massive pull to get him out of Texas. Obviously, DJ Lagway is from Texas. He had some influence there as well, but Texas, just high school sports hotbed. If we can continually land recruits from there, it means Billy Napier is doing something right. He's a top 150 kid nationally. And his stock continues to rise. It could continue to rise into a senior season. This will be something we watch a lot. Great defensive lineman, great athlete, one of the top prospects in the entire country. This would be a big pickup for the Gators. Next up, let's talk about Jordan Seton. He is an offensive lineman that I think Florida would love to have. We talk about why offensive line recruiting is so important on this channel and why it's the biggest wild card. And that's because it is very, very hard to identify talent on the offensive line in high school. Very few high school coaches develop great high school or great offensive linemen while they're in high school. So it's all a little bit of a gamble. You want to oversign at this position. 24/7 Sports lists Seton as the 81st best player nationally. On3 has him as the 23rd best player nationally. He is On3 industry rankings top interior offensive lineman in the 2024 class. He is 6'5", 295 pounds. He's from Washington, D.C., but he plays for IMG right here in Sarasota, Florida. And I think that we've got that pipeline going to IMG, to Gainesville. This was something that, pipeline had dried up the last few years, but it seems like it's chugging right along right at this moment. Seton would be a huge pickup to contribute to these IMG players that are really loving Gainesville right now. His approach to the recruiting process has been interesting. He has really taken his time. He identified 12 schools in the beginning and really just did a lot of research, didn't name favorites very early, spent a lot of time viewing all of these places before he narrowed down his search. He also has talked publicly about the 2 offensive line coaches that UF has. I think that this is a huge sell. Rob Sale, Darnell Stapleton, 1-2 punch that's offered there. We've talked to commits from Florida, Fletcher Westfall being one of them, who said, you get those 2 coaches, but then you also get like 5 offensive line staffers that come with them. So everybody almost has their individual coach. And I really think that's something that UF is going to use as a selling point here. Seton has a mean streak. He is very physical. He has a great frame, and coaches refer to him as a dog. Florida is currently competing for his services against Ohio State, Alabama, Oklahoma, and LSU. So again, this would be a massive pickup. The last player we're going to talk about is Jeremiah Smith. He is verbally committed to the Ohio State University. He committed back in December. He is a 5-star wide receiver. He is considered 24/7 Composites number 2 overall player this recruiting cycle and the top wide receiver in the nation. He is 6'3", 198 pounds. He plays football at Chaminade Madonna in South Florida. He caught 58 passes for 1,073 yards and 20 touchdowns in 2022. And listen, he's committed to Ohio State. It would take a lot to flip him or, convince him, to really take Florida seriously. But don't be surprised if UF continues to push him, can push for him to flip or decommit. I think that ultimately he will probably sign with Ohio State, but he's created a really strong bond with DJ Lagway. I expect that relationship will continue and Lagway will continue to push until the very end. And I think Smith is going to be looking to see what Florida does with their young wide receivers this season. If they put up some numbers, I think he could potentially be swayed. He feels very strongly about being coached and developed by Brian Hartline. So Billy Gonzalez is going to have to continue to highlight and sell himself as a good alternative to Hartline. He also wants to be a first-round draft pick, obviously. So UF is going to have to convince him that they have what it takes to get him there. I think Billy Gonzalez's resume is incredibly impressive. I think that he can use that to convince Smith to come to Gainesville, but it is going to take a lot. And I do think he's going to wait and see how this season plays out a little bit before he makes any switches or anything like that. But UF is going to continue to push. This is the biggest fish. They want him. They'll continue to do everything they possibly can to convince him right up until signing day. So this one is definitely not over. How many of these guys will UF ultimately land? And what's the ceiling for this class? If I've learned anything, it is to not doubt Billy Napier and to trust his process. Not only does that apply to recruiting, but it's going to be important for the 2023 season as well. And if you haven't seen why that will be the right approach, you can click right here to find out.